So what's a jigsaw used for? Well, it's an essential tool for a wide variety of cuts you need to make in your woodworking projects, such as cutting curves, notches and holes, along with many other tricky cuts that would be unachievable with a circular saw blade. Stay tuned and I'll show you what jigsaw I'm doing towards the end of this video. What's up guys, I'm Ben from Lion & Bear Woodworking, and today I'm going to give you a review of the Lumberjack Tools cordless 20V jigsaw. I'll go through the features, positives and negatives so that you can decide if this is the tool for you. Firstly, let me be totally honest. I've had a very bad relationship with jigsaws over the years, and since using this one from Lumberjack, one thing has become apparent. It wasn't ever the fact I don't like jigsaws, it was clearly that I'd just been using cheap crap ones that weren't up to the job. Whereas historically, I'd do anything I could to minimise the use of a jigsaw. I can honestly say that using this is an absolute pleasure. Anyway, that's quite enough of that. Let's have a look at the tool as a whole. It's a 20V battery powered tool from the Lumberjack Tools XP series battery platform, which means if you've got any of their other battery tools, such as the nail gun, which is my absolute favourite, or if you've bought it as part of a set, then all the batteries, big and small, will fit the tool. I like these batteries because they have the power indicator light on them, which lets you know in advance if you're going to have enough power to get the job done. The smaller batteries keep it nice and light, but even with the bigger 4Ah battery fitted, the balance in the hand is really good. This is the first battery powered jigsaw I've owned, and the freedom this creates is fantastic. More often than not, your cuts with a jigsaw will be in awkward places and you don't want to have to be worrying about a cord, so this is definitely one of those tools where cordless is better. It's got a few key features which I really like. Firstly, it's got a pendulum action, which is great for when you need to cut through material a bit more aggressively. Essentially, this turns the saw from one that just pumps the blade up and down to one that also pushes it forwards and backwards. However, I generally tend to only be doing smaller, neat pieces or curves where accuracy is more important than speed, so I usually stick with level 1. It's probably worth noting at this stage that I pretty much immediately changed the blade out for a higher quality one, as I never really like the blades that come with tools. The ones that come with it are convenient to get you started, but for the small price of a few quid, you'll want to get yourself a pack with a few varieties. While we're talking about blades, it's easy enough to change the blades over, and it's completely toolless. Just push this section here and the blade pops out. You can then just slot your new one in and off you go. The full stroke length, i.e. the amount it moves up and down, is 25mm, which means it will go through pretty thick material. And the thing I've noticed with this saw over the cheaper ones I've had in the past is that the blade deflection seems to be less. This may be that it's better balanced, or that the roller at the back does a better job of keeping the blade straight. But either way, I like it. Probably my favourite feature is the work light, which lights up the area you're cutting so you can easily see your mark, even if the lighting isn't great. Okay, let's talk dust collection. Because this is a tool where the teeth of the blade point towards the front and the angle of the teeth point downwards, you're going to find that it's almost impossible to get a decent dust collection on any of the jigsaws that you use. Unfortunately, I'd have to say that this one is no exception. Although I was pleased to see that it did at least have a dust collection nozzle, and unlike some brands, it actually feeds all the way through to be as close to the blade as possible, it's simply not possible to have a properly effective dust collection by trying to suck it out from the back at the top when everything is being out from the front and the bottom. Because of this, I tend to just resign myself to the fact that I need to sweep or vacuum up the dust after I've finished cutting. Sorry to interrupt, but if you're enjoying this video or finding it at least a bit useful, don't forget to hammer that like button and consider subscribing. Back to the review. It's been very rare in my experience that I've needed to adjust the angle of my cuts with a jigsaw. I tend to set it up to 90 degrees to the blade and then leave it at that. However, if you do want to change it, you've got a lever here which you just unlock, adjust and then lock back off again. Simple but effective. Right, let's talk about the trigger. It's got the usual safety features that requires you to push the safety button and then pull the trigger before it starts, which is great because you could easily accidentally press the trigger when carrying it around otherwise. The trigger itself is pressure sensitive, so it won't just fly off as soon as you touch it. This gives you loads more control so that you can easily adjust the speed by simply tightening or loosening your grip. It also comes with this edge guide piece that just slots into these holes here, and you can adjust it and tighten it down. It's got measurements on it, which makes it a little bit easier. It's not the most sturdy thing I've ever used, and generally I tend to use a straight edge myself anyway. Then you just run it across the edge of your workpiece when you're making your cut. It's a fire station. So after a few months of using this tool, I've really enjoyed using it. And I think it could be a great addition for your workshop, for the price point especially. So be sure to check the links in the description for more information. If you want to see some of my other tool reviews, including some of the Lumberjack tools, check this playlist right here.